Welcome back, folks. Get a Grip on Lighting is live at the NAED South Central Regional Conference. And we are brought to you by who, Greg?
Keystone Tech.
Ooh, come on, man. Keystone Technologies. Go to KEYSTONETECH.com. You know, Greg, who needs the big three? All you need is a solid Keystone.
Solid number one, huh?
Oh, yeah. Bring that mic a little closer to your mouth,
Get
man.
into this.
Yeah, you know how to do this thing. You're a pro.
Here. Let's go.
So you go to KeystoneTech.com. We have Jennifer Littles, who is with the show. You're one of the organizers.
I am. I'm the Director of Conferences, Meetings, and Sponsorship with NAED.
That's a big job.
Who?
Somebody's got to do it.
Somebody's got to do it.
That's right.
Well, you're live. You're going to tell us a little bit about it right now. So what's that job like every day? I mean, is it ebb and flow? Is it like moving up to a show? Does it get more stressful, or how does it work?
Well, you know, it's a funny thing. We kind of live for the stress.
Yes.
You know, so I love this industry. I love planning. It's probably one of the few things that you actually get to see come together. You know, so you spend all of this time ideating and creating and executing, and it's that woo-saw moment when you see all the pieces come together. And then you take a deep breath and then you jump right back in the fire and do it again.
Yeah.
So learning to multitask. Our event season actually runs from October to June, and well, technically July. And then after that, we get a small break.
You get August off.
A smidge.
Sure.
It's mostly wrap up and ramping up and just,
Yes.
you know, a smidge.
Because how many different conventions you have? How many regionals? You have a national? How many?
We do. We have 3 regionals. We have one big national, and that's in May. And then we have several niche meetings. Some of our niche meetings include our LEAD conference, our Adventure conference, Women in Industry, which is one of the fastest growing groups in the in our meeting portion.
Nice.
It's phenomenal. The women that are inside of the electrical distribution arena are so involved and so excited to be a part. So we're super excited about that.
You know, it's interesting, the idea of women in the electrical space. Like, you go to these shows, okay, and you know, it's a lot of dudes.
It is.
You know, I mean, I don't know how else to put it, right?
It's a lot of dudes.
It's a lot of dudes, right? And you go to, but you know, the women are strong women in this industry.
Absolutely.
You know, and you know, all the women we've met, and you know, ours is more of a lighting background. Electrical and lighting come together a little bit, but lighting has its own thing going too. And I know the women in the lighting business are fantastic business people. They're strong
Phenomenal.
personalities.
Super smart.
Yes.
Super smart, super driven. What I've noticed with most of the women that I've worked with in the industry since I've joined NAED, which I just joined NAED in October, and I have the privilege of leading our committee for the women in industry. So what I've noticed is that they are so driven and so smart about the businesses that they're involved in. And their positions range from HR to C-suite level. You know, some are in marketing, some are in, you know, just management, operations management, and they're thinking the way that they think, the way that they're driven, and they are definitely more in touch with the climate and the feel of each company, which I think maybe sometimes may have been overlooked in the past.
You know, it's interesting that I hate to generalize about men and women, like to speak like that. You kind of, you know, you can get into stereotyping a little bit, you know, when you start speaking like that. But I feel like women bring a different element to the business world.
They do.
And when they're, you know, and
we do.
Yeah, we exactly. And you know, when you speak to women in the industry and you say, you know, what's it like to be a woman in the lighting business or in the electrical industry? A lot of them haven't really even thought about it before. You know, when you ask them that question, they sit back. I mean, when we interviewed Brenda Puckett, oh man, the name escapes me. The lady that was the marketing director for Philips. I can't remember her name off the top of my head. Oh, sorry. I'm gonna remember you soon. But anyway, they never had. They a lot of them reflect on it for a second. They don't think about it, and I think it's important for them to think about it a little bit.
A little bit.
Not too much. Like have a meeting maybe and see. But is there a problem in this industry with that, or?
I wouldn't call it a problem, but with any industry, you know, I think diversity and inclusion should be the forefront of every industry. So there should be representation from all age brackets. There should be representation from diverse backgrounds. You know, all of that comes together to make a wonderful recipe of success. You know, that way it's not narrow thinking. You know, people bring, you know, especially different age brackets. One of the key things that we've noticed in the industry is that, you know, many of our executives are kind of on the retirement track. And have we really focused on what comes next? Have we prepared the team to take control up under us?
I read an article that said the average CEO or the average C-suite executive is 10 years older than someone in that position in the 1990s. So the C-suite is aging, and particularly in the electrical field, I think it's worse maybe than in some other areas. So, are we grooming generation?
Correct.
You know, the other thing too is, like, when you talk about diversity, a lot of people feel awkward about it. I think when you're not including people, it's a disability for you. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not their problem. It's actually your problem.
It's our problem. It's something we all need to consider. You know, I think we've been conditioned to, when we say diversity and inclusion, people usually think it's a skin tone conversation, and it's not a skin tone conversation. Diversity and inclusion means, I like to use this one analogy. It's, you know, it's one thing to invite me to the party. That's great. I'm here. I'm at the party, and it's awesome. But inclusion is inviting me to the dance floor, leading me to the dance floor, and dancing with me. So now, not only am I present.
You want to dance?
But
Let's do
it. And mind you, I can't dance. Let it be known that I can't dance. I'm not a great dancer.
It's just a metaphor, okay, folks?
I really can't dance. I have rhythm, but I can't dance. I can't bring it together. It's like I'm a robot. That's me.
I think you're the robot. I can do the robot with you. So these events, though, you're putting them together. It's an interesting thing to see the personality type of the event manager. That's a personality type. You understand what I mean? It's like conscientious, clipboard. You know what I mean? In hand, tap, 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 tap. Let's get this thing done.
Well, in all fairness, I have a team. It's not me. I have a senior conference manager, a senior planner, and an event coordinator, and you know, it's not a one-woman show by any stretch. We're a very strong team, and they do the heavy lifting. I don't think they just show up with me for signature. They're like, "Can we pay for this?" So
the amount of people that are involved in putting these kind of events together is really incredible. Actually,
it is. Yeah. It is. It's the details. You know, the devil is in the details.
Sure is.
All of the logistics. Something as simple as making sure that we've counted the cables and that everything plugs in.
Sure.
You know, so
yeah.
having someone who pays attention, who's the bean counter. Yeah. You know, someone who has strategic vision. You know, which is actually more of my role. Is more of the strategic vision of our conferences and meetings and events, and making sure that we're on trend, staying. Sorry, my ears aren't holding up my headset very well.
You know, sometimes a lot. So I don't have any hair. Okay, just so the people watching, I don't have any hair to get messed up. Neither does Greg.
So it's all vanity because I didn't want to smush down my hair. So
it's a thing. It's a thing. You know, but I don't have to worry about that.
But yeah, so I'm really focused on the strategic vision and making sure that we're staying on trend and that our educational content is up to par, you know, that people are getting what they need from the conferences. This is an education environment. We're here to teach. We're here to absorb and learn from one another with our peers.
So your regionals, you get the most attendance at the national, I assume, and then the regionals are kind of offshoots of the national, or are they all?
That's a great question. So our attendance, I think our Western conference, our Western region conference is actually the most attendance for the regionals. They have the largest turnout. The right word is turnout.
Turnout.
That works for us. Yeah.
You're live. You're live. You can't take it back.
Yeah, we're going to say turnout.
Turnout now.
And so, and the national has more of our, you know, C-suite executives and
so it's different flavor.
Slightly different flavor. And so, you know, we do cater more to our C-suite executives for the national, and the regions I would really put them in the category of our working conferences.
Yeah.
That's where our
Sales managers.
exactly, exactly. Our manufacturers are meeting with our, distributors and, getting that work done. It's very important, those booth sessions and that peer time,
I think that's a good way to do it. It's hard to combine those two. Not that, one's better than the other. It's just that it's kind of two different mindsets and you got to tailor it two different ways.
Yep.
So you could do tracks and try to combine it, or this seems like a good way.
Yeah, it's a win-win. We definitely add in that education component because a lot of our members, are smaller companies. They may not have, the full marketing staff, which is why we have the Adventure Conference coming up, where we talk about marketing principles and tactics and trend, So we want to make sure that all of our formats, all of our meetings and conferences, that it's an experience, that they're able to take away something, learn something more that they didn't know before. We want to be that resource. We want to be, and that's who we are as the association. We want to be that one-stop resource for our members.
It's interesting because you guys have the scale, to do that for your members. You have the scale. It takes a certain amount of scale to offer that scope in a sense, right?
Right.
It's like, well, this one's more about this. But I think that what it comes down to, in the age of digital live streaming, what we're doing right now, I think it's still important to press hands together.
Absolutely.
To get together.
Absolutely.
To meet the people, to look each other in the eyes.
Technical difficulties. You stuck with us through that. That was about 5 minutes. The first time that's happened, we're gonna log off here, folks. But we'll forget about the big three, right? That's right. You need a keystone. That's what you need. You gotta stand on the keystone with Keystone Technologies. Go to KEYSTONETH.com, man. Light made easy. The retrofit kings, baby. Check them out. Thanks for coming on.
Absolutely.
Had a lot of fun, yeah.
Dance later.
Yeah, we're gonna get you. Thanks for listening, folks. We're gonna do the computer. All right, cool. Thanks, Scott. Back in Toronto. We'll get you guys going. We'll straighten that camera out. We'll figure out these tech issues back in about 20, 30 minutes. Thanks for listening, guys.